Min-jae, wait! Oppa, I made cookies for you. Min-jae, please take my letter.
The hallway erupted into chaos before anyone understood what was happening. Min-jun, wait. Oppa, I made cookies for you. Min-jun, please take my letter. Three girls practically collided into each other, each stretching out carefully wrapped gifts toward the most popular boy at Westbrook High. A bouquet of red roses dropped onto the polished floor, followed by a pink teddy bear that rolled into someone's locker. Laughter and squeals echoed through the hallway as students pulled out their phones. Hey, everyone. If you're new here, welcome to the family. If you love emotional stories, unexpected twists, and unforgettable romance, you're in the right place. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Now grab your favorite snack, get comfortable, and let's jump straight into today's story. Kang Min-jun didn't stop. With his ash-gray tinted hair falling perfectly across his forehead, broad shoulders filling out his varsity jacket, and the confident stride of someone who had spent years pretending not to notice the attention he attracted, he walked straight past every girl calling his name. The basketball captain had become a legend before his junior year had even started. Straight A student, starting point guard, student council vice president, 6'2", movie star handsome. Teachers admired his discipline. The boys wanted to be him. The girls wanted a chance with him. Every Monday morning, his locker overflowed with chocolates, handwritten letters, flowers, bracelets, expensive sneakers, and sometimes even luxury watches from girls whose wealthy parents could afford them. Most boys would have enjoyed every second of it. Min-jun found it exhausting. I'm telling you, his best friend Ethan laughed as he followed beside him. One day somebody's going to propose in the cafeteria. I hope not. You always say that. Because I mean it. Another voice called out. Min-jun. He looked over politely. A beautiful Korean-American cheerleader named Yuna stood beside the lockers, holding a carefully wrapped gift box. I stayed up until 2 in the morning making these macarons. They're your favorite flavor. Several girls nearby frowned. She knew his favorite flavor. Min-jun smiled apologetically. I'm sorry. Yuna blinked. What? I can't accept them. Her smile froze. Why? I don't want to give you the wrong idea. The hallway became strangely quiet. Yuna forced a laugh. You've rejected me 6 times already. I know. So, is there someone else? He hesitated. I don't know yet. She swallowed the disappointment before nodding. I hope she realizes how lucky she is. She walked away with watery eyes. Ethan sighed. You're breaking hearts before first period. I never asked anyone to like me. No. His friend chuckled. You were just born looking like that. Min-jun rolled his eyes. Then, he noticed her. She sat alone by the classroom window, while everyone else crowded the hallway. One leg crossed over the other. Noise-canceling headphones covering her ears. A thick novel resting comfortably in her lap. She wasn't scrolling through social media. She wasn't staring at him. She wasn't whispering with her friends. She hadn't even looked up once. Sunlight streamed through the window, catching the rich glow of her chocolate skin. Her natural curls were pulled into a high puff, and despite wearing the same school uniform as everyone else, she somehow carried herself with effortless elegance. She had soft curves that made the uniform fit her beautifully, yet there was nothing flashy about her. She simply looked comfortable in her own skin. Who's that? Min-jun asked quietly. Ethan followed his gaze. Oh, you mean Chika. Chika Okafor. The Nigerian girl. Nigerian-American, Ethan corrected. She moved here years ago. Min-jun watched as she calmly turned another page, without acknowledging the noisy hallway. Does she always sit alone? Pretty much. No friends. She has friends, but she likes peace. One of Chika's classmates approached her. Girl, Maya laughed. Are you seriously reading during first period madness? Chika removed one side of her headphones. I have 3 chapters left. You know, half the girls in school are fighting over Min-jun again. I noticed. You didn't even look. I've seen handsome boys before. Maya burst into laughter. If they hear you say that, they'll faint. I'll buy smelling salts. Both girls laughed together. Something about that laugh made Min-jun smile without realizing it. She wasn't pretending. She genuinely didn't care. For the first time in years, someone wasn't trying to get his attention. The first bell rang. Students rushed into classrooms. Min-jun couldn't explain why, but instead of walking toward his usual seat immediately, he glanced back one last time. Chika had already put her headphones back on. She never even realized he'd been looking. By lunchtime, the entire cafeteria buzzed with the usual excitement surrounding Min-jun. Girls intentionally chose tables near him. One accidentally tripped just enough for him to catch her tray. Another offered him homemade sushi. Someone slid a folded note into his hoodie pocket before running away giggling. Ethan counted. 7. What? 7 girls confessed today. I wasn't counting. I was. Min-jun sighed. Across the cafeteria, he spotted Chika again. She sat outside beneath a maple tree instead of inside the noisy cafeteria. A container of jollof rice rested on her lap, while Maya enthusiastically stole pieces of fried chicken. You always pack too much. I know you'll steal half. Exactly. They both laughed. Min-jun found himself watching again. What are you staring at? Ethan asked. The girl outside. Oh. Ethan smirked immediately. No. What do you mean no? I know that look. There is no look. There is. I'm just curious. About the only girl ignoring you. Min-jun remained silent. His silence answered everything. Ethan leaned back dramatically. Oh, this is going to be entertaining. The following morning, Chika arrived at school carrying several textbooks against her chest. As she reached her locker, someone accidentally bumped into her from behind. The books slipped. They scattered across the hallway. Oh. Before she could kneel, another pair of hands had already picked them up. She looked up. Those familiar ash-gray strands caught the morning light. Kang Min-jun. He stacked the books neatly before offering them back. I think these belong to you. She accepted them politely. They do. I'm Min-jun. I know. He chuckled. Of course. And you're Chika. She looked surprised. You know my name. I asked. Why? I wanted to. She stared at him for a second, then smiled politely. Thank you for helping. She reached for the books. He didn't let go immediately. I was wondering. Yes. Would you like to have lunch together today? The hallway went completely silent. Students nearby froze. Someone literally gasped. A freshman whispered loudly, Did Min-jun just ask Chika out? Phones discreetly appeared. Everyone waited. Chika blinked once. Twice. Then she gently pulled her books free. I'm sorry. His smile remained. I already have lunch plans. Oh. With my peace and quiet. A few students struggled not to laugh. Ethan, watching from farther down the hallway, nearly choked on his drink. Min-jun wasn't embarrassed. If anything, he looked impressed. I'll ask another time. I'll probably give the same answer. She closed her locker. Have a nice day, Min-jun. Without another glance, she walked away, leaving the most desired boy in Westbrook High standing alone in the middle of the hallway. For the first time in years, someone had rejected Kang Min-jun. And somehow, that only made him want to know Chika Okafor even more. Min-jun stood in the hallway long after Chika disappeared around the corner, the corners of his lips lifting into a smile that confused everyone watching. Ethan finally reached him and waved a hand in front of his face. "Dude." No response. Earth to Kang Min-jun. Still nothing. "You just got rejected." "I know. And you're smiling." "I know." Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Are you okay?" "I've never met anyone like her." Ethan groaned dramatically. "Oh no." "What?" "You've caught feelings." "I've barely spoken to her." "Exactly. You're already talking like the main character in a romance movie." Min-jun laughed. "I just think she's interesting." That's how it starts. By the end of second period, everyone in Westbrook High knew exactly what had happened. Whispers followed Chika through every hallway. "That's her. The girl who rejected Min-jun. I heard she embarrassed him. She must think she's too good for him. No, maybe she's already dating someone." Some students admired her confidence. Others couldn't understand it. A few girls hated her before they'd ever exchanged a single word with her. Chika, however, remained completely unaware. Or perhaps she simply didn't care. She was focused on taking notes in advanced biology, while Mrs. Anderson explained genetic inheritance. "Miss Okafor." Chika looked up. "Can you explain why dominant alleles aren't always the most common in a population?" She stood without hesitation. "It's because dominant doesn't mean better or more frequent. It only describes how traits are expressed. A recessive trait can actually become more common depending on environmental and genetic factors." Mrs. Anderson smiled proudly. "Excellent." Several students clapped lightly. Min-jun, seated 3 rows behind her, watched with genuine admiration. Not because she'd answered correctly, but because she'd spoken with quiet confidence. She never looked around to see who was impressed. She simply sat back down and continued writing. After class, Min-jun caught up with her outside. "You're really good at biology." She glanced sideways. "I study." "So do I." "I'm sure you do." "You don't sound convinced." She shrugged. "I don't really know you." "Fair point." He matched her pace as they walked. "Can I ask you something?" "You just did." He laughed. "Can I ask another?" "If it's quick." "Why do you avoid everyone?" "I don't." "You eat outside." "I like fresh air." "You sit alone." "I like reading." "You leave school immediately." "I have somewhere to be." He smiled. "You have an answer for everything." "I usually do." She stopped outside the library doors. "This is my stop." "You live in the library." "I volunteer here after school." "Oh." She opened the door. "Have a good day." "You too." The door closed behind her. Min-jun stared at it for several seconds. Ethan appeared again, as if summoned by destiny. "Strike 2. I think she likes books more than people. You've officially met your match." Inside the library, Chika exhaled slowly as she organized returned books. Mrs. Carter, the elderly librarian, smiled knowingly. "He's handsome." Chika looked up. "Who?" "The boy who's been looking at you like you hung the moon." She laughed softly. "You're imagining things. I've worked in schools for 30 years. I know what young love looks like. It's not love." "No. No." "What is it then?" She slid another book onto the shelf. "Curiosity." Mrs. Carter adjusted her glasses. "And what if curiosity becomes something more?" Chika's smile faded just slightly. "It won't." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I'm not interested." Mrs. Carter didn't push further, but she noticed the tiny hesitation before Chika answered. Friday evening brought the biggest basketball game of the season. The entire gymnasium overflowed with students dressed in blue and silver, Westbrook school colors. The cheerleaders practiced routines near the court. The marching band filled the air with excitement. Girls lined up near the entrance, hopping to catch Min-jun before the game. Good luck. We believe in you. I baked brownies. One girl even held a giant sign that read, "Marry me, Min-jun." His teammates burst into laughter. She's serious, Noah said. I've seen her here every home game. Min-jun rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. I don't even know her name. Coach Wilson clapped loudly. Eyes on the game, gentlemen. As the players warmed up, Min-jun scanned the bleachers. Thousands of faces. Students shouting. Parents cheering. Then, near the very top row, he saw her. Chika sat beside Maya, wearing a simple Westbrook hoodie and eating popcorn. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't waving signs. She wasn't trying to get his attention. She was simply watching the game. For some reason, that made him happier than all the cheering combined. No one noticed. Who are you looking at? No one. Liar. The Nigerian girl. Min-jun smiled. Maybe. Noah whistled. You've got excellent taste. The whistle blew. The game began. Westbrook faced its biggest rival. The first quarter was brutal. Bodies collided. Players dove across the hardwood floor. The crowd roared after every basket. Midway through the third quarter, Westbrook trailed by 12 points. Coach called a timeout. The players gathered around, breathing heavily. We're rushing. We're panicking. Coach pointed at Min-jun. Lead them. Min-jun nodded. We've got this. His teammates looked exhausted. He spoke calmly. Forget the scoreboard. One possession at a time. We've practiced harder than this. We're not losing tonight. His confidence spread through the team. The fourth quarter began. Min-jun stole the ball. Fast break. Layup. Cheers exploded. Next possession. Three-pointer. The deficit shrank. Another steal. Another basket. The gym shook from the noise. With 12 seconds remaining, the score was tied. Everyone stood. The rival school missed their shot. Rebound. The ball landed in Min-jun's hands. 5 seconds. 4. 3. He sprinted down court. The defense closed in. Instead of forcing the shot, he passed. Noah scored the winning basket as the buzzer sounded. The gymnasium erupted. Students rushed onto the court. His teammates lifted Noah onto their shoulders. Reporters from the school newspaper surrounded Min-jun. You could have taken the final shot. Why pass? Min-jun smiled. He had the better angle. Coach overheard. A proud smile crossed his face. That's why he's captain. Across the gym, Chika watched everything quietly. Maya nudged her. So what? Still not impressed. He seems like a good leader. Just a good leader. He passed instead of chasing glory. Maya smirked. You noticed. I observed. That's teacher language. I'm thinking of becoming a doctor. You still observed. Before Chika could answer, someone stepped into their path. Yuna. The same cheerleader Min-jun had rejected. Her smile looked sweet. Her eyes did not. So, she crossed her arms. You're Chika. Yes. I've been wanting to meet you. Chika smiled politely. It's nice to meet you too. I wish I could say the same. Maya immediately frowned. Excuse me. Yuna ignored her. I don't know what game you're playing. I'm not playing one. You rejected Min-jun. I did. So why does he keep chasing you? I'd have to ask him. Yuna took one step closer. Girls like you are the worst. Chika blinked. Girls like me. You pretend not to care because you know boys love the chase. I really don't. Oh, please. I've seen this before. You'll reject him until you're satisfied you've made him beg. Chika's expression remained calm. I think you've misunderstood me. No. I think you're wasting his time. Several nearby students slowed to watch. The atmosphere became tense. Maya stepped forward. We're leaving. But Chika gently touched her friend's arm. It's okay. She looked back at Yuna. For what it's worth. I'm sorry he hurt your feelings. Yuna's face hardened. You don't get to pity me. I was being honest. Without another word, Chika walked away, leaving Yuna standing there, embarrassed in front of dozens of students. From across the crowded gym, Min-jun had seen just enough to know something wasn't right. He frowned, then started walking toward them. Before Min-jun could reach them, Yuna spun around and walked in the opposite direction, forcing a smile at the students she passed as though nothing had happened. The crowd slowly returned to celebrating Westbrook's victory. Maya let out the breath she'd been holding. I swear, one more second and I would have said something. Chika adjusted the strap of her backpack. I know. You should have let me. And what would have happened? I would have told her to mind her own business. Chika smiled faintly. Exactly. So she would have gotten exactly what she wanted. Maya sighed. You are way too calm. No. Chika looked back toward the basketball court. I've just learned that not every battle deserves my energy. Before Maya could answer, a familiar voice interrupted. Chika. Both girls turned. Min-jun had finally caught up. His jersey was damp with sweat, his gray-tinted hair slightly messy from the game, yet somehow he still looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine cover. Several girls instantly noticed he wasn't heading toward the locker room. He was walking toward Chika. Again. I saw Yuna talking to you. Chika nodded. She was. Did she say anything rude? I'm fine. That's not what I asked. She looked into his eyes for a moment before answering. She was upset. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. I do. You were dragged into something because of me. She shook her head. I can handle myself. I know. There was something different in the way he said it. Not protective. Respectful. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm okay. He smiled. Good. An awkward silence settled between them. Maya glanced from one to the other, then suddenly pointed toward the exit. Oh. I just remembered my mom's waiting. Chika frowned. She texted you. No. You checked your phone. No. So, I'm leaving. Before Chika could stop her, Maya disappeared into the crowd at lightning speed. Chika laughed under her breath. She planned that. I think she did. They started walking toward the parking lot together. Neither of them spoke for nearly a minute. Surprisingly, it wasn't uncomfortable. Finally, Min-jun broke the silence. You really came to the game. Maya likes basketball. And you. I wanted to see what all the noise was about. So, you passed. He blinked. I passed. You could have taken the last shot. My teammate had a better chance. I know. You noticed. I notice a lot. He smiled. I've realized that. They reached the school gates. Cars lined the sidewalk as parents waited. So, Min-jun rubbed the back of his neck. Can I ask you something else? She laughed softly. You ask a lot of questions. I know. What is it? Would you maybe? He paused. Consider letting me buy you coffee tomorrow. She looked at him, then smiled politely. No. He chuckled. You're making this really difficult. I never asked you to try. I know. So why do you keep asking? His answer came without hesitation. Because every conversation with you makes me want another one. For the first time, Chika didn't have a clever response ready. She looked away first. My mom's here. A silver SUV pulled up beside the curb. Good night, Min-jun. Before he could reply, she climbed inside. As the vehicle drove away, her mother glanced sideways. Who's the handsome young man? Chika fastened her seatbelt. A classmate. He looks very polite. He is. He likes you. Chika looked out the window. I know. And nothing. Her mother smiled knowingly. Ahem. Monday morning arrived with a surprise. Mrs. Anderson clapped her hands to quiet the classroom. Before we begin today's lesson, I have an announcement. The students looked up. Our biology department has been selected for the National Medical Science Challenge. Several students cheered. The competition requires students to work in pairs. Mrs. Anderson unfolded a sheet of paper. I've already chosen the teams based on your academic performance. Chika immediately looked nervous. She hated group work, especially with people she didn't know well. Mrs. Anderson began reading names. Maya and Daniel. Ethan and Sarah. Noah and Lily. She continued until only one pair remained. And finally, Mrs. Anderson smiled. Chika Okafor. Chika's stomach tightened. And Kang Min-jun. The classroom exploded. No way. You're kidding. Seriously. Maya's jaw literally dropped. Ethan burst out, laughing so loudly that Mrs. Anderson had to tell him to settle down. Min-jun looked just as surprised as Chika. He slowly turned toward her. She slowly turned toward him. Neither of them spoke. Mrs. Anderson continued, as though she hadn't just created the biggest gossip topic of the semester. The competition lasts 8 weeks. You'll conduct research together, prepare presentations together, and represent Westbrook High together. The bell rang. Students immediately surrounded them. Dude. Ethan slapped Min-jun's shoulder. Congratulations. I didn't choose this. You don't look disappointed. I just hope she's not. Across the room, Maya whispered loudly. Are you okay? I'll survive. 8 weeks. I heard. With him. I noticed. Maya leaned closer. God clearly has a sense of humor. That afternoon, they met in the library for the first time. Neither had spoken since class. Chika arrived exactly at 4 o'clock carrying notebooks and colored sticky notes. Min-jun was already there. He stood as she approached. Hi. Hi. I saved you this seat. Thank you. They sat across from one another. Silence. Min-jun cleared his throat. So, we should probably start. She nodded. We should. He opened his laptop. I looked over the competition guidelines. So did I. I made a schedule. So did I. He laughed. You really are prepared. I like planning. I can see that. She slid a neatly printed timetable across the table. I thought we could divide the workload equally. He studied it. Everything was color-coded. Research. Deadlines. Practice sessions. References. It was impressive. This is amazing. Thank you. I was thinking. He hesitated. Maybe we could also meet once a week outside school. She immediately looked up. For the project, he quickly added. Only the project. She relaxed slightly. That's reasonable. I promise I won't waste your time. I hope not. He smiled. You still don't trust me. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she closed her notebook carefully. When I was 15. His smile faded. There was a boy. Min-jun remained silent. He said all the right things. He told me I was different. He told me I was beautiful. He told me he'd never hurt me. She stared at the table instead of at him. I believed him. What happened? He liked the attention he got from dating me. She swallowed. When he got bored, he dumped me in front of half the school. Min-jun's jaw tightened. He laughed. His friends laughed. And after that, she forced a small smile. I promised myself something. What? I'd never let anyone have that kind of power over my heart again. The library became painfully quiet. Finally, Min-jun spoke. I'm not him. I know. You don't sound convinced. I'm trying not to compare. You don't have to. She looked into his eyes. I compare everyone. He nodded slowly. I understand. No. She corrected gently. I don't think you do. I probably don't. But, his voice softened. I'd like the chance to prove I'm different. For the first time since they'd met. Chika didn't reject him. She simply looked at him for a long moment. Then quietly said, We'll see. Neither of them realized that someone standing outside the library doors had heard every word. Yuna lowered her phone after secretly recording part of their conversation. A slow smile spread across her face. If I can't have you, Min-jun, she whispered to herself, then neither will she. And with that, she walked away, already planning the first move in a game that would test Chika and Min-jun far more than either of them could imagine. Chika had no idea that someone had recorded part of her conversation. She simply packed her notebooks into her backpack and stood. I should go. So soon? Min-jun asked. My mom finishes work at 5:30. We always have dinner together. I like that. She smiled politely. Good night. Good night, Chika. He watched her leave, then glanced at the timetable she'd made. Every page was neat, every deadline carefully planned. He couldn't remember the last time someone had impressed him without trying. You've got it bad. Min-jun looked up to find Ethan leaning against the library doorway. How long have you been standing there? Long enough to know you're smiling at a study schedule. Min-jun laughed. It's a good schedule. No. Ethan folded his arms. It's the girl. Min-jun didn't deny it. It's the girl. Over the next few weeks, the biology project became the highlight of Min-jun's day. Every Tuesday and Thursday, they met in the library. Every Saturday morning, they met at a quiet cafe near the community park. At first, their conversations were limited to genetics, anatomy, and presentation slides. Then they slowly drifted into everything else. What food do you miss most from Nigeria? Min-jun asked one Saturday. Chika looked up from her laptop. My grandmother's jollof rice. I've heard Nigerians say nobody cooks it better. That's because nobody does. He grinned. So you're saying Korean food loses? I'm saying your kimchi is safe. My mom would be relieved. Bum. And your mother. She makes amazing soybean stew. You'll have to prove it someday. The words escaped before either of them realized what they implied. Chika blinked. I mean. Min-jun laughed. I know what you meant. She laughed too, covering her face for a second. For the first time, talking to him felt effortless. Across the cafe, an elderly waitress smiled at the sight of them. You two make a beautiful couple. Both of them answered at exactly the same time. We're not dating. The waitress chuckled. Not yet. She walked away before either of them could respond. They looked at each other, then burst into laughter. Westbrook High held its annual fall festival 2 weeks later. The football field transformed into rows of colorful booths, music, games, and food trucks. Students wandered around in casual clothes instead of uniforms. Maya linked arms with Chika. You actually came. You threatened to drag me here. I absolutely would have. Meanwhile, Ethan shoved Min-jun toward the entrance. There she is. I can see her. So go. I'm walking. You've been walking for 3 minutes. Before Min-jun could answer, someone wrapped both arms around his neck from behind. Min-jun. He turned carefully. Sophia. The blonde senior smiled brightly. I've missed you. She hugged him a little longer than necessary. Across the field, Chika noticed. Her smile disappeared. Maya followed her gaze. Who's that? I don't know. You don't sound curious. I'm not. Oh. Chika folded her arms. He can hug whoever he wants. Of course he can. It doesn't concern me. Right. Maya raised one eyebrow. So why are you starring? I was just. She stopped. I don't know. Before she could think about it further, Min-jun gently stepped back from Sophia. It's good to see you. I heard you're finally dating someone. I'm not. Sophia frowned. Really? I thought everyone was talking about that Nigerian girl. We're friends. She smiled with obvious relief. Oh. Then you should come to my birthday party next week. I'll think about it. You'd better. She squeezed his arm before walking away. Min-jun looked toward Chika. She was already leaving with Maya. For reasons he couldn't explain. That bothered him. The following Tuesday, Chika was unusually quiet during their study session. You've only said 6 words in 20 minutes, Min-jun observed. I've been counting. She kept highlighting her notes. I'm working. Did I do something? No. Are you sure? I'm sure. He closed his laptop. Chika. She finally looked at him. What? If I upset you, I'd rather know. You didn't. Then what's wrong? She hesitated. Nothing. You know. He smiled gently. I've learned that nothing usually means something. She sighed. The girl who hugged you. Sophia. You seemed close. We've known each other since middle school. Oh. That's all. I didn't ask. You didn't have to. She looked away. I wasn't jealous. I didn't say you were. I was. I know. She narrowed her eyes. You're smiling. I am. Why? Because you cared enough to notice. She opened her mouth. Closed it again. Finally she laughed. I can't believe you. You still weren't jealous. She shook her head, smiling despite herself. Maybe a tiny bit. His grin became impossible to hide. That's progress. Don't get used to it. I'll treasure it. She rolled her eyes. You really do have an answer for everything. Only when I'm talking to you. The words settled gently between them. Neither looked away. Neither noticed Yuna standing outside the library windows again. Her expression darkened. This ends now, she whispered. The following morning, the school woke to scandal. Students crowded around their phones before first period. Have you seen it? I can't believe Chika said that. No wonder she's using him. Confused whispers spread through the hallways. Maya hurried toward Chika. Don't open your messages. Too late. Her phone buzzed. Someone had anonymously uploaded an edited audio clip from the library. Only one sentence remained. I'd never let anyone have that kind of power over my heart again. The rest of the conversation had been cut away. The anonymous caption read, "Poor Min-jun. Chika admits she's only pretending to like him because she'll never trust him anyway." Within an hour, hundreds of students had shared it. Some mocked her. Others pitied Min-jun. A few called her manipulative. As Chika stood frozen in the hallway, she heard the whispers. She played him. I knew she wasn't genuine. I feel bad for Min-jun. Her chest tightened. She hadn't done anything wrong. Yet somehow, everyone believed she had. Then the crowd suddenly parted. Min-jun walked straight through the middle of them. He stopped in front of Chika. Without saying a word, he reached into his pocket, took out his phone, and deleted the recording from the school group chat while everyone watched. Then he looked at the students surrounding them. I was there. His voice was calm but firm. That recording is edited. Silence fell. I heard the entire conversation. You don't know what you're talking about. So stop judging someone based on 15 seconds of audio. No one answered. He turned back to Chika. Are you okay? She blinked rapidly, fighting back tears. You believed me. He looked almost surprised by the question. I never stopped. For the first time since they'd met. Chika's carefully built walls cracked completely. Without thinking, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. The hallway fell silent. Hundreds of students stared. Min-jun slowly hugged her back. She whispered so quietly, only he could hear. Thank you. He smiled softly. I told you. I'd prove I was different. Across the hallway, Yuna watched the embrace with disbelief. Her plan had done the exact opposite of what she'd intended. Instead of breaking them apart, she had pushed them closer together. And for the first time, she realized she might have already lost. Chika stepped back almost immediately, her cheeks warming as she realized half the school was starring. I am sorry. Min-jun smiled. You don't have to apologize. The hallway slowly came back to life as students drifted toward their classrooms, but the whispers had changed. He defended her. So the recording was fake. Who edited it? By lunchtime, the principal had traced the anonymous upload to a student account linked to Yuna's phone. She was called into the administrative office, and before the final bell rang, the truth spread across campus. Yuna had secretly recorded the conversation, edited it, and posted it to make Chika look manipulative. She was suspended from extracurricular activities for the rest of the semester and ordered to make a public apology. The following morning, she stood in front of the student body during announcements. I owe Chika Okafor and Kang Min-jun an apology. What I did was wrong. I let jealousy make me hurt people who had done nothing to me. I'm sorry. The apology was brief, but sincere enough that Chika chose not to hold on to the anger. I hope she learns from it, she told Maya afterward. You're actually forgiving her. I'm choosing peace. You really are different. Weeks passed, and with the rumors finally behind them, Chika and Min-jun stopped pretending they were just project partners. They still studied together, but now they also walked between classes, shared lunch under the maple tree, and laughed over the smallest things. One chilly afternoon, they finished practicing their presentation earlier than expected. What do you usually do after this? Min-jun asked. I read. You always read. I like books. I know. He smiled. But what if today you did something different? She tilted her head. Like what? He pointed toward the football field, where dozens of students were flying kites as part of the fall festival's final weekend. Come with me. I've never flown a kite. Perfect. You know this is going to end badly. It'll end with us laughing. She looked at him for a long moment before shaking her head with a smile. Fine. An hour later, they were both laughing so hard they could barely stand after Chika accidentally crashed the kite into a tree. I told you, she said between laughs. It wasn't supposed to attack the tree. The tree attacked us. She laughed even harder. Min-jun stopped laughing for just a second. He realized he never seen her this carefree. No guarded smile. No carefully measured words. Just joy. You have a beautiful laugh, he said quietly. She froze. So do you. Neither of them looked away. The autumn wind carried orange leaves between them. Almost without thinking, Min-jun reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. A week later, Westbrook High hosted the National Medical Science Challenge. Students, teachers, and judges from schools across the state filled the auditorium. Backstage, Chika adjusted her blazer for what felt like the 100th time. I'm nervous. Min-jun looked at her in surprise. You. What if I forget everything? You won't. What if I do? He gently squeezed her hand. Then I'll remind you. She smiled. And if you forget, you'll remind me. Mrs. Anderson walked over. You two ready? They exchanged one look, then nodded together. We're ready. Their presentation lasted 20 minutes. Every answer was confident. Every explanation flowed naturally. When one judge asked a difficult question about gene therapy, Chika answered the first half, while Min-jun seamlessly completed the second. It felt less like two students presenting, and more like two people who genuinely trusted each other. When the winners were announced, the auditorium held its breath. First place. The principal smiled broadly. Westbrook High. The room exploded into applause. Maya screamed louder than anyone. Ethan nearly tackled Min-jun in celebration. Mrs. Anderson wiped away proud tears. As cameras flashed, Min-jun turned toward Chika. We did it. She laughed. No. We did. Without caring who was watching anymore, he gently cupped her face. I've been wanting to tell you something for months. Her heart raced. So tell me. I like you, Chika. He smiled nervously for the first time since she'd known him. Actually, I've loved you for a while now. The auditorium suddenly felt very quiet. Chika's eyes filled with tears. You've been so patient with me. I'd wait longer if I had to. She laughed through her tears. You don't have to. So, she reached for both of his hands. I love you too. The applause became even louder as everyone realized what had just happened. Even teachers smiled. Ethan shouted, finally. Maya laughed so hard she had to wipe her own eyes. Min-jun leaned forward. Can I kiss you? She smiled. You really ask permission for everything. Always. She nodded. Yes. Their first kiss was gentle, brief, and filled with every emotion they had been holding back for months. The auditorium erupted. Months later, graduation arrived. Students lined up in blue caps and gowns, laughing, crying, and taking endless photos. As names were called, Chika and Min-jun crossed the stage one after the other, each receiving honors for academic excellence. Outside, families celebrated on the front lawn. Chika's mother hugged both of them. I knew from the first day I saw you at the school gate. Min-jun laughed. You did. A mother's intuition. His parents joined them moments later. His mother smiled warmly at Chika. So this is the young woman who made my son forget every other girl. Chika blushed. I didn't mean to. Oh, his father chuckled. I think you absolutely did. Everyone laughed. As the crowd slowly began to leave, Min-jun looked toward the now empty school building. A year ago, every girl wanted my attention. He turned to Chika. But the only attention that ever mattered was yours. She squeezed his hand. And I spent so much time protecting my heart that I almost missed the person who wanted to protect it with me. He smiled. So, does this mean you're finally done rejecting me? She laughed, pretending to think. I'll let you know after college. His eyes widened dramatically. What? She burst into laughter before wrapping her arms around him. I'm kidding. I've kept you waiting long enough. He hugged her tightly as graduation caps filled the bright afternoon sky. Sometimes love wasn't about chasing the loudest applause or choosing the person everyone admired. Sometimes it was about finding the one person who saw beyond the popularity, beyond the walls, beyond the fear, and choosing each other anyway. And as Chika and Min-jun walked away from Westbrook High hand in hand, they left behind the story everyone thought would never happen. The boy every girl wanted had found happiness with the one girl who wasn't looking for him. And the girl who once believed love only brought heartbreak discovered that the right person doesn't break your heart. They teach it how to trust again. And that's where today's story comes to an end. I hope it kept you entertained from beginning to end. If you enjoyed this story, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to bring you more heartfelt stories every week. I'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what was your favorite scene, or what lesson did you take away from today's story. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this amazing community. Until our next story, stay safe, stay inspired, and remember, sometimes the most unexpected love stories become the most unforgettable ones. See you in the next video.